Guess who's back? Back again. Hey guys. Yeah, she is back. She is back. I am so excited to be doing this segment with my one and only, my beautiful, wonderful wife. We have been waiting for her to come back. And she's back. Are you back, babes?
I'm back.
You are back.
Yes.
Oh, wow. You know what? We're gonna tackle some of the questions that guys have sent us with our last episode, and I'm so glad that I'm not doing this alone. And I know that you guys are also glad that this face here is back. What would you like to say to your viewers, my love?
Sure. I missed you so much. I missed this platform. As we always say, we are addicted to good conversations. I was missing all those good conversation live, but I managed to listen to the conversation on the podcast, and wow, super awesome. You know, this is just live challenging topics. These are the daily topics that we are dealing with that sometimes we avoid to speak about. But hey, I am just so glad, my beautiful and lovely, handsome host. And I'm happy to be here this day.
No, you must see the producer at the back. He's even dancing. Guys, welcome back. Welcome back. Babes, we're going to get right into it. The last episode that I had, I was talking about friendship, and then it starts with you. Do you have anything that you want to add on that, or any comment on that?
Sure. I think friendship is a big thing, and it's part of our lives. As much as I know there are other people who say we don't have friends, but what I can comment about with the little that I've heard from the podcast and the comments from people regarding friendship, from my perspective, I want to say that friendship, which is part of a relationship, I mean, in a friendship we relate. And one thing that I picked up in this friendship that we get into, some intentionally formed, some by default, because we meet people from different areas at different places as well, right? And I just remember when I was still in high school, we were so intentional about it. You would actually go to somebody and say, "Can you be my friend?"
So you'd go and ask them.
Yes, to be your friend. So I think if it's intentional like that, then we are likely even to communicate our expectations. But some are coming up by default. Is then we are meeting at this place, and we feel like at that particular place or event we have common how can I put it? We have common traits, we have common interests, yes. We have common interests, and automatically we feel like we should be friends. One of the interesting comments there, I can't remember who was it from. It might be Pamela, that, what is it about?
Must I read the comments?
Yeah, maybe you should read the comments, and then I can take it from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's start with Pamela's one.
Okay.
Right? Pamela says, yours, for someone who has been through the most, and I've had friends pull me through more than family, I value my friendship.
Okay.
So she said more friends pull her through in her time of crisis more than family.
Yeah.
Right? Must I read the whole thing?
Yes, please.
And it says there are friends that are long-term due to their life happenings. They are long-term, and due to their life happenings, you just seem to drift apart without any bad blood between you. Then there are those that are seasonal friends who are there for a specific reason, for a specific season that you are on, be it going out and partying or having chilling sessions on a Sunday afternoon. So these are what? These are seasonal friends. And then she says the testing times are the ones that reveals to you who can stay and who needs to be let go. I've had to cut ties from a few friends when I realized how much they were draining. Never there. Never there, and never there when you need them, but they are quick to guilt trip you when you can't be there for them.
Sure. Yeah.
Do you want to say something on that, or must I read all of them?
No, let's just talk about this one for now. There's just so much that Pamela has said right there. Now, I'm going back to what I had said earlier on. Where have you met? Have you met as friends? We might meet at a wedding. It's nice vibes, right? And our friendship now starts to grow from that level of a nice vibe. And in another person, remember in this friendship, it's two people with different opinion. But we don't, like I've said, that at high school, we would intentionally say,
oh, okay.
Right?
Okay.
And now, because of the environment that we were in, once somebody says that to you, there were kind of rules that were there. When you say that, what is expected of this relationship?
So this was a culture of the school.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So because it was a culture of the school, culture will come up with those hidden rules.
That's true.
Okay.
That's true. Both of us, whether we verbally spoke about it, but at the back of our minds, we know this is how our friendship will go.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Like you've put it very nice, because of the culture. And there are other ones, and most of the time it was a boarding school. Most of the time it will be like when we start, and there are other people that have already paved this friendship kind of a thing, right? Yeah, so we are friends. We sit under, we had different trees. Our school was full of trees, and every group of friends owned a tree.
Okay.
So there was just it was just a beautiful vibe. So everything was intentional. We eat together, we wash together,
What school is this, if I may ask?
It's a boarding school in Polokwane.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a boarding school in Polokwane.
Okay.
And then now, as we grow older, what I was saying, coming back to this comment, to say that we meet maybe at a wedding, and then the next time we say, oh, let's go out for drinks. The next time we go, let's go out for lunch, right? Our friendship is basically around
nice times.
Now, as Pamela mentions, now testing times come. My friendship with you is for nice times. You ain't gonna tell me about your problems. That is not the foundation of our friendship. Now, you might be thinking, remember, we never communicated anything. Now, in your heart, you're thinking, hey, I'm always with Terry. We're always having a nice time. Then your mom passes on, then I vanish. And you feel like I'm not a good friend.
Wow.
Where was our foundation? Right? It's possible that I can make a friendship at a funeral. Somebody comes to my uncle's funeral, or my aunt's funeral, family member funeral.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
We get there, you actually came because of whom. But now you come in the space maybe where we're working as ladies, and then we connect, me and you. Now we connect in the kitchen. We connect helping. We connect running around,
So
making things
when you
happen.
say in the kitchen, this is like preparation for that wedding.
Yes, for the funeral.
For the funeral, yes.
Yes.
So you guys are part of the cooking team, basically.
Yes,
so
basically.
that's where you meet.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
thank you for clearing it.
Yes.
That's where we meet. We have this vibe of working, making things happen. And then after that, we meet. Even if we meet for lunch or for drinks, I have our foundation is at that space of saying, I can count on this woman. This is a board maybe. And then When there is a funeral, this is the person I'm thinking about. Oh man, my uncle passed away, or my mother, or whoever passes away, and she comes to the party. Now I don't know if I'm making sense. Then our foundation is different from somebody that I've met at a wedding. Remember, how do I put it? Remember when we meet at a funeral, right? And in that state, in that kind of an environment. Now, there is this thing, it's not everybody that loves the kitchen, that loves to do that kind of work. Now, both of us have this thing in common, and that's where maybe connected us. And then I invite that kind of a person to a party and doesn't come. Most of the time, I would not have a problem with that. Compared to when it's the opposite.
When there's crisis.
When there's crisis.
Yes.
Of course, friendship gets to be tested. But I think it was Umulimo as well, whom I want us to bring in from this comment, Pamela, who also spoke about friendship. If you can go through.
In relationship with romantic.
No, not that one. I don't know if it was her. Please
but
go there.
Before I go there, would you she's putting friendship at a higher value in her life.
In her life.
Does that happen?
It does happen.
It does happen, right?
It does happen. Since it happened to Pamela, it does happen. And that is true. It does happen. Sometimes friends, and again, I am going to go back maybe to how you met,
the foundation
your foundation of that. Yes, I just hope maybe she can comment on the foundation of those friendship that were able to pull her through. You know, we go through different, we relate differently in friendships. We relate differently. Hence, I'll go back to the foundation all the time. How did we meet? And was this communicated? Most of the time, yes. What I wanted to add on from, I think it's Omulemo, it's that we sometimes break friendship because of uncommunicated issues and matters, things that we could speak over or speak about. We don't speak about them, and ultimately it's like it's not worth it.
Yes.
Like I think back to that, you know what, I'm interested in all those comments that friendship sometimes you must accept is seasonal. And as we grow, it's seasonal, and we actually have friends for different reasons. Yes, we have friendship for different reasons. There are other people that I know as my friends, which they would not be there for me when I am mourning. And that does not mean they are not good friends. I just need to know this friend, I put her here. There are other friendships, like maybe if I call a friend, man, when we were growing up, we knew, you know, December time, like the now time is time for spring cleanings. We would actually help each other as friends. Today we're going to your home to do that. But there are other lazy ones that I can't call. And it's a fact, but that does not mean they are not my friends. They are still friends.
I think you're talking to what was said on that segment as well, that the friendship must be tested. I spoke about the fact that I test everybody around me. Because I need to know how can I throw you? How far can I throw you? So if I know how to relate with you, then I will not expect from you what you cannot give.
That's true.
So that's what you basically talking to, right?
And in testing that, you spoke about that. In testing that, do you cut those friends off that are not there for other reasons? You don't.
And guys, this is one of the things that I learned from my wife. I used to write people off. I used to really write people off. And when you taught me that, you say, you know what, just because the person does not come through for you at this level, at this time, doesn't mean then you write them off completely. And it speaks back to what you're saying, the foundation of that friendship. How have you tested it? Don't expect from somebody something that they cannot give. But you must know, as a friend, go to Master's spring cleaning. I'm not going to invite Uvosi.
That's true.
So if I do invite Uvosi and he doesn't deliver, I'm actually setting up Uvosi for failure. But if I know how to relate with my people, the foundation that we started and the testing as well.
Yeah.
Sure.
It is very important to test friendships, even though it's risky as well. But it is important to do that. And in testing that, it's not about being spiteful. It's about knowing that when the time comes, can I really rely on you? You know? And if I know that on this particular thing, I cannot rely on you. And if in our friendship, in us creating friendship with people, we must not be deaf to other things. You know, you meet this person and say, yo, now I don't like this friendship of borrowing each other things. And you decide not to take that into consideration.
listen to what they're saying,
Yes. We must always listen to people when they speak. Because there are expectations from different people. Like, I know, you are my husband. You would not have a problem borrowing somebody a car at any point. Or us as a couple, we don't have a problem with doing that. But there are other people going like, no, there's no way. I cannot borrow somebody my car.
Yes.
You know?
So I'm laughing because somebody said to me, and I'm happy you're bringing this up, right? That your example about borrowing people cars, why should your friendship be about cars?
Exactly.
Right? And I was saying, because one day I'm gonna need the transportation. I need to know who do I go through.
Exactly.
But you bringing that up, Guti, the reason probably I'm testing people on that is because we don't mind doing it.
Exactly.
Right? So I'm happy that you spoke about that actually. That you define your own relationship.
That's true.
And say, Guti, about the people that I have around me, how do I want them to help me? In what areas of my life that I might need help on those people?
That's true.
And then if you know, then you are able then to define this relationship and set them up so that they work for you. You know? But so I just wanted to go back to the Omelemo's comment.
Okay, sure.
Let me read that. It says, as somebody that has gone through quite a lot with friendship this year, both good and bad, I am grateful for this conversation. Thank you so much, India.
Thank you.
It says, as a young adult, the biggest hurdle in friendship that I've come across is the sad reality of not treating our friends like we do when it comes to our romantic relationships. So he's doing that comparison. And so the romantic relationships looks like they take priority over friendship, right? It says we are less forgiving in friendships and are so easily to cut each other off because of disagreement that could have been resolved if spoken about.
That's true. That is very true. That a lot of times it's unspoken issues that break a friendship or a relationship. And that is one thing that we need to learn, all of us, to speak about issues, because we part ways not because we had to, just because we never spoke about it. You know, I know what I'm talking about in terms of I have been there with a friend whereby we just separated. And there was just this bad vibe between us that none of us between the two parties was willing to speak about, to say that ain't like what's wrong. And it went for many years that we had not spoken. For a friendship that has been there for many years.
A friendship that you had deemed a very good friendship.
Exactly.
And that friendship ended, and I believe both of you could tell there was something wrong.
Exactly.
But none of you were willing to say, can we sit down and say, Botata King,
yes,
what happened?
Yes.
And that relationship ended.
That's true. That is true. And that is one thing that I had learned. As much as that happened when I was still growing up, in terms of not being matured. And it's one thing that I had learned in the journey of life, that I should communicate everything, try to communicate, let me say, because it's not an easy thing to do.
There's one question, and this question I left it for now.
Okay.
Because though I want you to comment on it, say what you want to say, but I want to ask this question to our viewers.
Okay.
This question was asked by Marilyn. Marilyn says, is it normal for one not to have friends or not to have anyone to rely on? Let me read that again. We want to hear your views, especially on this one. Is it normal for one not to have friends or not to even have people to rely on? What is your view? What is your comment? Would love to hear that. Babes, do you want to say something to that?
Sure. I think the big word there is it normal? Right?
Okay.
And I would love to answer from my perspective.
Okay.
For me, I cannot do without friends. I cannot do without people that I can rely on. Right? And I am not saying to Marilyn as well and say it's abnormal, because I don't know her life. Maybe for her, she's able to live without friends.
And she probably has a reason why.
Exactly.
Yes.
And maybe in this episode, she can just even give us more detail. Sometimes when you are hurt by something, you're likely to move away from it. I don't know whether this is coming from the point of saying somebody or people that I trusted, that I thought I could rely on, they disappointed me. Hence, I came to this conclusion, right? At this point in time in my life, I cannot do without friends. Friends are a bigger part of my life because I have realized in my life I need people to live a normal life.
What do you need people for?
For support.
Okay.
For relating, for communicating, those kind of things. So that's the reason I'll say friends for me are a vital part of my life.
When you asked this question, I remember she sent us a separate message.
Okay.
Where she says, Guti, because this was my question. First question that I asked her was, what happened?
Yeah.
Right? So she had trusted somebody, and that person exposed or was not reliable. So she felt that, to protect me or protect myself from this happening again, I will now rather not rely on people. And I said to her on the conversation, I said, you've given this person too much power.
Okay.
That now you've changed your whole life to say, I don't need friends because this has happened. Right? So and again, I think we would love to hear what your views would be or are. What would drive you to get to a point of saying, I don't want to have friends?
Yeah.
Because something has to happen.
Exactly.
But anyway, thank you so much for that, my love. Now, just a few tools before we close. How best do I create or safeguard the friendships that I have?
How safe to?
How best do I create friends or safeguard, protect the friendships that I have moving forward?
Sure. I would say communication is the best tool that we can use in our friendships. We need to communicate our expectations in friendship, because sometimes we have our own expectations, we have our thinking of how things should happen, but we don't communicate to the next person. For an example, if I have a death case in my family and I've got friends, is it not better for me to say, friends, this has happened and this is where I need help? In comparison with, they were never there. And sometimes we bring along that guilt tripping other people when I don't know what was happening in their lives when I was going through what I was going through. right? Sometimes we want to understand things at the end. Because, for an example, it's like Pamela has said, that this is tested when something happens. Friendship is tested when something happens, right? And when that something happens, is it not better to communicate what I'm expecting from my friendships?
Yes.
In comparison with coming to blame, to say, yeah, but when my mother passed on, you were never there for me. But the question is, do I even bother to ask what was happening in your life? You can also say, but at that time, do you know I was in hospital?
Yes.
And then said, oh, oops, but you never said, but you never asked. You know, those kind of things. So it's, Mina, my tool for friendship. Let's learn to speak about issues.
And this drives what Omele was saying.
Yeah.
Because we talk about communication, the importance of communication in romantic relationships. But in every place where you're gonna relate with somebody, communication is very important.
It's key.
The other thing that I want to bring across is relationship is never one-sided.
That's true.
All right. Sometimes you might be saying you're writing people off because they're not good for you and stuff, and find that they wrote you off before you even wrote them off. So I want people to understand, Goti, this thing. If you think you're the one who must be in control all the time, you're gonna have problems.
That's true.
Right? Every January, people are saying I'm writing people off. Right? We go into 2025. People will be like, people that are not in supporting Wara Wara, I'm writing them off. And yet they wrote you off in 2024. Right? So you're not the one who is king. You need to understand, Guti, one of the other things, I think the big thing is, we relate because of shared values.
That's true.
The values have to be shared.
Yeah.
Right? If even in families, the reason I relate with somebody in my family more than the next person is the values that we share. Right? So shared values is so important. And because of time, we're not going to be able to talk about that here, but we're going to have a segment where we talk about shared values.
Sure.
There's certain things I'm not going to do to you, my love, because we have a shared value, and the shared value drives and controls everything else. Right? I cannot entertain other women because I'm married to you. And our shared value is we're working on this relationship, both of us, and we are building this relationship. So when we value and we share this value, it creates boundaries for me in other places, which makes life easy.
Exactly. That is so powerful. I think this should be just a full episode on its own regarding the values. And as I touch base on what you have said about people saying that, hey, I'm cutting people off my life. I have seen one January, somebody saying, if you have not called me for 6 months, just know I'm deleting you out of my contact list. And I go like, what a selfish statement to me. The other thing in friendship, we cannot afford to be selfish. And when you're saying, if you have not called me for 6 months, then that same person has the same sentiments and saying, if you had not called me for 6 months, Kantiana has removed you long ago.
Because you have not called them in a year.
Exactly. You have not called them, but you still have the audacity to say that
even
if you
in
have not called me.
Sorry, my love, even in that 6 months, she's the one or he's the one who last called you.
Exactly. You know?
I love this. And we're going to have a segment of it where we open it up.
Yes.
Right? And don't make it selfish and one direction kind of a conversation. Guys, you know what, Dave? Thank you so much for coming back. I've actually enjoyed this conversation. Thank you so much. The producer as well is like, you mean so much to this, what we're doing here.
Oh, I'm humble.
You're the center. You're part of the foundation. So we need you more often.
Sure.
I know my viewers are going to agree to that as well. But guys, thank you so much, Malak, for being here. This again is relating relationships with Desmond Ankosi.
Noteri Wavankosi.
And we are addicted to good conversations. Thank you so much.
We depend on you, Lord. We rely on you. on you, Jesus. We rely on you. We depend on you.